G'day guys, how's it going? My name is CJ. So the Galaxy S8 has been in the wild now for around 3 months. It's been met with gleaming reviews for its outstanding design and feature set. However, the biggest question regarding Samsung's flagship, and always has been, is whether or not the whole user experience, hardware and software, is one that can pass the test of time. Classically, with older Galaxy flagships, including the not-so-old Galaxy S7, the older they got and the more people used them over a period of time, accumulating apps and user data, the slower and laggier the phone became. What used to feel like a sublime, zippy experience turns into a frustratingly stutter-filled nightmare. So how has the Galaxy S8 fared over a 3-month period? Well, let's take a look. To start off with, the most obvious feature with the Galaxy S8 is its design, and it's a stunning example of how far Samsung has come over the years. 3 months on, the Galaxy S8 is just as alluring and just as beautiful as the first day I took it out of its box. So long as you haven't dropped it, as the double glass construction makes it just as fragile as it is beautiful. It's also one of the slipperiest phones ever, but that can be alleviated with a skin if you don't want to taint its slim profile. Taking this phone out of the pocket to look at is immediately satisfying. Sometimes I find myself thinking up of excuses just to take my phone out and ogle at the beautiful Quad HD Super AMOLED display that fills up more than 80% of the front. Phones like the iPhone and the OnePlus 5 with their massive bezels look like they're from a different age when you compare it to the S8. And what a screen it is. Samsung keeps pushing the boundaries with their display technology, and any other smartphone on the market right now, their displays pale in comparison. Literally. The color rendition, saturation, and dynamic range is like no other. The screen gets crazy bright and minimally dim when you need it to. Media consumption in this phone remains one of the best in class. It could have been the best if it wasn't for the average to good single down firing speaker. Had Samsung implemented a stereo speaker system sort of similar to what the iPhone or the HTC had, then you could have been looking at one of the best devices for media consumption. But then, as with most things in life, we don't always get what we want. Now, media consumption can only last as long as the battery. I've been using the S8 Plus, and the 3500 mAh battery has been pretty good. When I've been using the phone regularly with moderate to heavy use, I've been getting regularly around 4 to 5 hours of screen on time, and usually being able to get to the end of the day with around 30% or so battery. Battery life initially started out a little inconsistent. However, with regular use with the phone, it's now far more predictable, and I haven't really run into any big surprises, which is good. And now onto the camera. Probably the most important feature of any new flagship smartphone that comes out these days. As we know, the S8's rear-facing camera is almost identical to the one that was in the S7. It still takes great photos, but when we compare them to other flagships, Samsung is still guilty of over-processing their photos. They crank up the saturation, and quite often you see quite a lot of over-sharpening, which means that you get fairly unnatural and sometimes grainy artifacts in the photos. 4K video recording is pretty good, though I'd say compared to the other flagships, it has one of the weaker implementations of optical image stabilization. But then, at least it has optical image stabilization, right? Where it shines, however, is in autofocus. Samsung's dual pixel autofocusing system is still probably the fastest and most accurate on the market today, so it makes it that much easier to capture those fleeting moments in life. Overall, it was a little disappointing not to see Samsung implement a dual camera system like many other flagships, but it's still one of the best in class on the market right now. Then finally, the selfie camera. Whilst much has been made of its autofocusing feature, Samsung's image processing lends it to have an image that is still way too soft for my liking. Despite turning off all the beauty features, you'd think a phone that has autofocus and an 8 megapixel sensor should pull heaps and heaps and heaps of detail of the subject. But no, it's still really soft, you still look like a Ken or Barbie doll, and it just looks really unnatural. And then there's the final downside, which is that the front-facing camera is no longer as wide as its predecessor. So what that means is that group selfies are a little more cramped, And then if you're going traveling or you need to fit both the subject and the background, it makes it a lot harder. It's one of the main reasons why I love traveling with the S7 so much. Now let's talk about software. Android 7.1.2 has been out for a little while now. The Galaxy S8, however, shipped with an older version of Android Nougat 7.0. Since release, Samsung has released one or two small little incremental updates, which I've covered in one of my last videos, which you can check out somewhere in one of these corners. But anyway, classically, Samsung has been slated for its bloated TouchWiz UI and fairly bang average software optimization. It's often relied on sheer brute power of its components to overcome software stutters to provide as smooth of an experience as possible. Taking the S8 out of the box for the first time was actually quite promising and actually proved to be one of the smoothest experience I've had on a Samsung device to date. And whilst on the whole, the interface has kept up and in general is still pretty quick, you still do notice the occasional standard Samsung stutter or lag. Some might call it jankiness. And then it occurs in aspects of the UI which you'd consider pretty basic, like multitasking and scrolling. It can even occur in apps that aren't particularly CPU or memory intensive. I've seen it happen in simple situations such as going back a page in settings. So there's a massive difference when you compare the experience to a Pixel or a OnePlus 5, where the UI just seemingly flows like water. It fragments the user experience for an otherwise excellent phone. This continued lack of real software optimization, whilst it seems like a small issue, really does detract from the overall experience, especially when, thanks to the Pixel and the OnePlus 5, you know how fast and smooth Android can be. So overall, how has the S8 aged over this 3-month period? I'd say well enough. It's still one of the best devices on the market right now. Battery is staying solid, and the immersive experience its Infinity display can give is still unmatched at this stage. My biggest concern with this phone is in regards to its ongoing issues with stutter. The fact that for some reason it still lags when performing the most simple of tasks is worrying. Unless Samsung can roll out a future update where the software is more optimized for the hardware, then I fear for how the phone will age in a year's time, heck, even 6 months' time. History would suggest that it doesn't look good for the phone. Anyway, what about you? How has your S8 aged over the last 3 months? Are you going to buy an S8 if you haven't already? Let me know in the comments section below. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, do consider subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Stay good, Eddie Mum for me. Cheers.